Hello there and welcome back to The Closet Historian and back to my sewing room for a side HUSSELEN update, and rather a large one. I'm not sure how long this video will be, but the update itself is rather monumental. As I'm speaking to you right now, in about 24 hours I will be driving out to Denver International Airport to take another flight back to upstate New York, where I've been twice recently. I try to go once a month now, apparently. It's just how it's seemed to have worked out. But this time I have rather an important meeting scheduled for earlier in the week before Thanksgiving throws everything all around, and let me tell you, booking flights back, trying to avoid that after Thanksgiving rush when there are no direct flights from upstate New York back to Denver, is an interesting challenge. But as you may have noticed in a few of my voiceovers I've mentioned, I've been extra stressed these last couple of weeks, couple of months, since about, the middle of September, and definitely since the beginning of October, and that is because I ended up finding a house to purchase in upstate New York. Now, my first trip out to upstate New York was actually on the more disappointing side, so I will detail that later. I want to tell you the full story of how I found the house that I ended up purchasing, tell you how I got to this point, but right now I just need to kind of revel in the relief of this point because I finally received word from my mortgagee, the overlords of mortgage, that I have been cleared to close and was able to schedule my closing for this next week. And actually, as you're watching this, I will have already closed on this house. Now, I know one of the most pressing questions on your mind, as it was on mine when I started looking, was what sort of house? And I will say that the house is from 1890 and is a small little Victorian gem. But I did, of course, have to make some compromises. This house is not as large as I was originally looking for. It's not as, I suppose, over the top. This is not sort of a museum quality preservation Queen Anne Victorian mansion of my dreams. That will have to wait for further down the line. This is my starter Victorian, if you will. Sadly, we have 0 turrets and no towers, not a widow's walk to be seen, and not a mansard roof, which will come in handy when it comes time to having to replace it, but is a bummer nonetheless. So the outside is not necessarily as epic as I was hoping, but that's okay because I can't show you the outside anyhow. It has to remain a secret. So in some ways, as a setting for my business and the videos that you watch here, it's the least important thing, the exterior, because you'll never be able to see it. And luckily the house across from me that my windows look at is actually very cute, so that's nice. It's almost nicer for the house that I look at to be very attractive than my own house itself. And despite this house not having, truly epic woodwork or stained glass or pocket doors still intact or anything like that, in fact, it doesn't even have a single mantelpiece. There's one fireplace and it's just brick and it's in the kitchen. So I'll show you that eventually, but there's no extant mantles, there's no remaining Victorian tiles. The hardwood floors have been painted already on the ground floor, so I'm going to paint them black. That's actually one of the things I really liked about this house, is that the woodwork inside, while there is some, it has actually been painted like an ivory sort of color, which means that I don't have to feel bad about painting it black because the wood has already been painted. I know the preservationists would have come for me for painting over like a yellowy orangey oak, but luckily, whoever, back in 1970 already painted everything. Thank you, you actually kind of saved me some heartache in some ways. But I'm already getting off track. Yes, there are some amazing details still left in this house, mainly these 3 windows in the entryway that I'm very excited to show you, and some really cool keystone arches in the main rooms, the parlor rooms downstairs. Now, as I will explain further when I tell the whole story from start to finish, I did actually buy this house sight unseen. And I'm speaking to you as if I'm actually quite familiar with the house, when in reality, I've only ever been there for about 45 minutes when I flew out to attend the inspection. So there are a lot of things that I still need to examine up close for myself and determine and measure and all that kind of stuff. I need to really draw my floor plan out because they don't give you a copy of your floor plan when your house is that old. So I need to kind of draw it out myself and label everything so I know exactly what's going on. Not that I expect many of the walls or floors or anything to be perfectly level or straight edges anymore, but it would be good to get an idea of where bookcases and things will fit. And honestly, if anyone had been stalking my Pinterest over the last couple of months, all I've been pinning is home decor, inspiration, and tile and random stuff for weeks now. So if anyone had been watching Pinterest, they probably would have known what was going on. So I already do have a million ideas that I want to incorporate into this house, have ideas for the various rooms. That's one of the nice things about older homes. You have defined rooms. There's no open floor plan involved, which is my kind of thing. I like to have each room be its own color scheme, its own sort of theme. I want them to flow together, but it is going to be a dark Gothic jewel box, let's face it. And I'm extremely excited to get started and take you on that journey, decorating this house, DIYing a lot of it, most of it myself, and showing you that process along the way. But before any of the fun stuff can happen, I will be out of the office here for about a week, away from all the sewing room stuff, so I can't actually make anything for a few weeks here, and when I get back, I actually have to pack it all away. So I'm not exactly sure how much sewing and crafting, drafting, any of that extra fun stuff will actually get done here on the channel or over on Patreon over the next month while I pack up my entire life and somehow move it out to New York State, including the finale of driving my 3 cats out there, which hopefully we will all survive as They are very anxious and so am I, and I'm already starting to have anxiety dreams about that, so great. So in some ways, this video is not just an announcement and an update. It is a warning that if I go MIA for a little while, if another video doesn't pop up on a Thursday, I know I missed a video last month, you know why. It's because I'm probably driving a moving truck, which I've never even driven a pickup truck, so I'll be driving a moving truck with my entire stash of fabrics and every little weird accent table and teacup I own through the empty parts of the United States, hopefully there won't be any snow, to upstate New York. So I've never driven on any of that. I've never been to any of the states between here and there. Could be a good time. Honestly, please just cross your fingers that the weather is on my side for this one. And none of my moving plans are actually set in stone yet. Nothing is actually scheduled other than this closing for the next week as I'm speaking to you now. Again, while you're watching this, I am in upstate New York finishing things up, signing all the stuff, dotting all the I's and T's, crossing the T's, all that stuff. And then, of course, most importantly, looking for a mantelpiece to put into the front parlor. But I do want to make another video going into this whole process in a lot more detail because it's something I don't mind sharing with all of you. And I know I've been trying to keep my journey from a clueless college graduate who floundered a lot and didn't know exactly what to do, trying to become a YouTuber, and trying to get to the point with my, I guess, small business where I could move out on my own and buy a house like this. This is an ultimate huge dream of mine, and a dream that has only been possible because my family have supported me along the way and because of the support of my patrons and also those of you who watch my videos here. This is the PBS model. All of this is possible because of viewers like you. So thank you. It's only because of you that I have not only my dream job, but also will have a dream home. But as I'll be going into more detail next time, do leave any specific questions you have for me below so I can try and answer as many as possible, as many as I feel comfortable doing. And speaking of comfort, again, I won't be showing the outside of the house. I don't want to talk about exactly where in upstate New York I moved to. I'll just say the outer capital region. Let's just say I can drive to antique shops along the Hudson if I need to, and I definitely think I need to. I certainly hope that you'll be seeing before and afters of certain rooms, but I'm not exactly sure how much of the layout even to show. I'm still getting used to and sort of thinking through the idea of having, you know, my personal home in some ways visible and online. I want to share decorating so much. Like I've been waiting to decorate my whole life. I cannot wait to dive in. I have so many DIY ideas and things I want to incorporate, and trust me, there will not be one white or beige or gray wall in this whole house. So if you've been waiting for some maximalist nonsense, I've got it for you. I think a lot of it will be too over the top for many. I know my mom's already afraid of the wallpaper samples I showed her for the bathroom upstairs. And even if some of my choices wouldn't be something that you could live with, I hope you will still enjoy seeing the jewel box come together. But I still have to kind of parse through how much of a full tour, like a full before tour I want to show you, just because I don't want you to guess where I live. I love you all. Again, it's only down to your help that I've made it this far in my life and job and home at this point at all, but I also don't want you to show up unannounced. So, you know, let's keep things like on the DL, keep it casual, you know, we don't need any visits. And yes, there will be cameras and security going on in general because, again, I'm an anxious person to begin with, and my cats are also anxious and cannot defend me one bit, so I have to defend them, not the other way around. So this is why I've been a little extra stressed and frazzled lately, a little bit more missing in action, and I know, and technically this video isn't a sewing video, I'm still sort of missing in action, but I promise the upgrade that I'm about to get in my surroundings and my inspiration and the avenues for my creativity that will open up hopefully all kinds of new little doors in my funny little brain will hopefully result into a lot more video content for all of you, not just home decor content, which is something, of course, I want to add in, home decorating, curtain making, all that kind of stuff, but also the upgraded sewing room and space that I will have will allow me to dive into some new series, some pattern drafting, vintage fashion series that I've wanted to start here on the channel for a long time, but just didn't know how to do it in this sort of confined space. I don't actually have a lot of room to do the sort of larger scale instruction I want to do. And this change in the amount of control it will allow me to have over all the visuals from start to finish, from the walls to the floor, will really inspire me to get those series going for you. And I want to have some really great pattern drafting and sewing stuff coming to you next year once I have, again, settled in and moved. So if I'm not around this holiday season, you'll know why. I will have some Patreon archive videos coming here to the channel, so I'll still be here, but it will be past me and current me. Again, who knows what she's up to, and hopefully I'll be back with you soon. As I'm speaking to you, it was just yesterday morning that I was actually cleared to close and could book my flights out and book the closing with my attorney and all that stuff. So I'm really still in the thick of it. I haven't processed all of this yet, which is part of the reason I'm not getting into the full story today, because I think I need to sit with this transition a little bit longer. I'm still sort of in the middle of it. That way I can kind of wrap my mind around what's going on, what has happened, and how much of a shift this is. And that way I can get into it and explain a little bit more easily my thoughts, because clearly, as I always say, I'm still a big plate of wet, mushy spaghetti right now, and I need to untangle my threads before I lay them out for all of you. So thank you again for your support, your patience, and for watching today. I, of course, will be back as soon as possible from a whole new world in some ways, with more sewing, vintage fashion, costuming, and crafting, and I really look forward to seeing you then. Bye. And I just wanted to add a special thank you to my conservator level patrons, anyone who has ever been a conservator level patron, for just going so above and beyond and allowing me to make this dream a reality. So a huge thank you to Franzi, Allison, Ashanti, Haley, Eva, Sarah, Jennifer, Theo, Isabel, Stephanie, Megan, Sean, Janet, Concetta, Lainey, Maggie, Melody, Jambonium, Vivian, Alicia, Nina, Amy, Lynn, Natalie, Audra, Ula, Eloquent Silence, Denise, Cheryl, Lilith, Karina, Myrna, Thea, Ella, Lynn, Rachamus, Margaret, Nancy, Rhonda, Elizabeth, Heidi, Zara, J. Lucky, Linda, Renee, Jen, Rachel, Alice, Kelly, Michaela, Samantha, Carol, Brianne, Lacey, and Beatrice. And thank you to all of my patrons for making my work possible.